Hi there and welcome back to Cruise Corner. Today we're taking you on a complete walk around Ambassador Cruise Line's Ambience, showing you where everything is and hopefully making it a little easier to find your way around if you've got a cruise coming up. This isn't a review as such, we're simply going to take you around the public areas of the ship, deck by deck, starting down on deck 5 and working our way right up to deck 14. Ambience has 10 guest decks, 789 cabins and carries around 1,400 passengers, so she's considerably smaller than some of the newer mega ships of today. So let's start where most passengers get their first proper look at the inside of Ambience. So here we are on deck 5 and this is Centre Court, right in the middle of the ship, and this is actually where we first came on board. Centre Court stretches up through 3 decks and is really a useful landmark when you're trying to work out where you are, because quite a few of the ship's main public areas all lead off from here. On deck 5 you'll find reception, so this is where you'll come if you have any questions about your onboard account, cabin or anything else you need help with during your cruise. Nearby is the Destination Experience Desk, and this is where you can find information and book ambassadors' organised trips ashore. Also on this level is Dickens, one of the ship's coffee shops. There's comfortable seating around here, so it's also quite a handy meeting point if you're travelling with other people. And that's pretty much the main public area on deck 5. So let's head up one level. We're now on deck 6 at the middle level of the centre court. Around this area you'll find Ambassador's Casino. It's certainly not one of the huge casinos you'll find on some of the other ships. It's a fairly small area with a couple of gaming tables and machines. Continuing around Centre Court you'll also find some of the ship's shops, selling everything from jewellery, perfume to gifts and Ambassador branded souvenirs. Heading away from Centre Court along the corridor brings us to Aces and Eights. This is the ship's card and bridge room, and you'll often see activities and organised games taking place in here during sea days. Crossing over to the other side of the ship is Kapoor's, Ambassador's dedicated arts and crafts studio. So if crafts, painting or some of the organised created activities are your thing, this is an area you'll likely become familiar with. From here we're heading back towards Centre Court and going up another level to deck 7. We've now reached the upper level of Centre Court and overlooking everything below is SW19. It's a bar and seating area right at the top of the atrium. It's another useful place to meet up and have a drink or simply sit and watch what's happening down in Centre Court. There are also more shops on this deck, as well as the photo gallery where you can view photographs taken by the ship's photographers during your cruise. Heading forward from Centre Court takes us towards one of the main entertainment venues on board, the Palladium Theatre. This is the lower entrance to the main theatre, which actually spans 2 decks. This is where you'll find the main production shows, visiting entertainers and some of the bigger events during your cruise. Deck 7 is also the Promenade deck. It isn't a complete wraparound promenade, so you can't walk all the way around the ship on this level, but it does still give Ambience that traditional cruise ship feel with plenty of opportunities to step outside and enjoy the sea views. Heading back inside and walking towards the back past Centre Court, we come first to the Botanical Lounge. This is one of the several bars and lounge areas on board, and as the name suggests has a botanical theme. Next door is Raffles Bar with its rather more traditional decor. As we continue further towards the back of the ship, we reach the Buckingham restaurant, which is Ambience's main dining room. This is where many passengers will have their main evening meal, and it's also used for breakfast and lunch at various times during the cruise. Now let's head back towards midship and up to deck 8. One of the first places you'll find on deck 8 is the Purple Turtle pub. This is Ambience's traditional British style pub with plenty of seating and another bar option if you're looking for somewhere slightly different in the evenings. It also hosts game shows, quizzes and live music. Moving forward towards the theatre, you'll find Bronte's Library. It's a proper little library rather than just a couple of bookshelves tucked into a corridor, with books available to borrow and seating if you want somewhere quieter during the day. On the opposite side of the ship is the Partnership Lounge. And right up here at the front, this deck also gives you access to the upper level of the Palladium Theatre. Deck 9 above us is almost entirely accommodation, so there isn't really anything we need to show you there. Instead, we're going straight up to Deck 10. Starting right at the front of Deck 10 is this outside viewing area, positioned just below the bridge. It's a good place to come if you want forward-facing sea views without having to look through glass. Heading back inside and walking along the corridor, you'll find something which can be very useful on longer cruises: the self-service laundry. So if you're away for a couple of weeks or just prefer not to pack quite so much, this is where you'll find the washing machines and dryers for an additional charge. Continuing all the way towards the back of Deck 10 brings us outside again to the Consulate bar and sun deck. The Consulate bar sits right at the back of the ship, so you've got fantastic views over the ship's wake and plenty of outside deck space around it. So if you're someone who likes watching sailorways, this is certainly one of the areas worth knowing about. As we head up, there's considerably less to show you on Deck 11. Outside you'll find more sun deck space, along with a couple of hot tubs. So if the main pool area is busy, it's worth remembering that there are other outside areas higher up the ship where you may be able to find somewhere to sit. And from here we're heading up again to one of the busiest decks on board, Deck 12. Starting towards the back of the ship is Borough Market, Ambience's main buffet restaurant. Rather than one continuous buffet counter, Borough Market is divided into different food stations, offering various types of food throughout the day. In the evening, part of this area is also used for Saffron's, Ambassador's specialty Indian restaurant, which carries an additional charge. If we continue through the Borough Market, you come out into the main pool deck. This is the main outside swimming area, and as you'd expect, there's plenty of sun deck space around it. If you're looking for something quick to eat without heading back to the buffet, you'll also find the alfresco grill out here. Moving forward across the pool deck brings us to the ship's second coffee shop, so you don't necessarily have to head all the way back down to Deck 5 to Dickens if you're spending the day outside. Just beyond that is Sea and Grass, another of Ambassador's specialty dining options, also available for an extra charge. So Deck 12 is probably the main daytime hub of the ship. Buffet, pool, outside food, coffee and specialty dining, all within a fairly small area. From here we're heading right up to the front of the ship on Deck 14. Right at the very front of Deck 14 is the Observatory. This is one of the highest public rooms on board and has large windows giving you panoramic views out over the sea. During the day it's used as a lounge and for various activities, while later in the evening it becomes one of Ambience's nightlife venues. Heading outside from the observatory brings you to the ship's walking and running track. So if you want to get your steps in without walking endless laps of the corridor, this is the place to come. As we continue towards the back of Deck 14, there's more sun deck space, giving you another alternative to the main pool deck below. You'll also find the active studio up here, where some of the organised fitness and exercise sessions take place. And while we're talking about keeping fit, there's one venue we haven't visited on the way up, because it's actually right down at the bottom of the ship. The main gym is on Deck 2, which is quite a small gym, but it's also along the Green Sea Spa and Wellness area, so if you want to work out during your cruise, this is the place to head. If you're sailing on Ambience soon and there's anything else you'd like to know, just leave us a question in the comments and we'll help if we can. And if you'd like to know what we actually thought of Ambience after spending 10 nights on board, keep an eye out for our full review. If you enjoy honest cruise reviews, ship talks and practical tips without any sales pitch, please consider subscribing to Cruise Corner. So until next time, thanks for watching, and as always, happy cruising.